Hey there, I'm Sandy Reese, Chief Encouragement Officer here at Get Fully Funded, where we help small nonprofits learn how to raise the money they need to fully fund their mission. I'm here to help you learn how to master the art and science of fundraising, and I've got a great tip for you in just a moment. But before we get to that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that the next time we post a really great tip like this one, you're among the first to know. Okay, on to this week's tip.
I think most people know they need a fundraising plan, but knowing you need it and actually getting it done can be two completely different things. Most of us procrastinate for one reason or another, and the procrastination can look like a lot of different things. Sometimes we have excuses for why we can't have it done. Sometimes we get real busy doing other things, so we don't have to have a plan. And so I thought this would be really helpful if we look at the 5 most common reasons why people don't plan. You can think of these as roadblocks. You can think of these as just things that get in your way and keep you from moving forward to putting your fundraising plan together. So the first one is what I call shoulding. A lot of people don't put a fundraising plan together because they think, I don't need a plan. I'm fine. I should be able to figure it out as I go. I should be able to know what I need to do. And really, that's a lot of pressure that you put on yourself because you're basically telling yourself, you got to figure this out all over again every day. So you're in the moment every day going like, what am I supposed to be doing? I don't even know. And what happens when you're in that space where you're like, well, I should be able to figure this out. I don't need a plan. You actually put yourself in direct line of fire of bright, shiny object syndrome. When you don't have a plan to follow to keep you focused, then everything that pops up grabs your attention and it can distract you and it can pull you aside and it can take you off course. And before you know it, you're working really, 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 really hard, but you're not getting anywhere. And one of the biggest reasons for that is because you don't have an overarching goal. You have your eyes on the prize. You don't know where you're trying to get to. And so you're just kind of meandering around doing whatever you want to do. Sometimes people get lucky and it works out anyway. Most people find themselves working too much, working at night and on the weekends, and getting really crispy around the edges. So if that's you, understand that's what's going on and that a plan will help you know what you need to be doing so you don't have to figure it out right in the middle of every day, which is very exhausting. Okay, the second thing that comes up that keeps people from fundraising planning is perfectionism. And what that looks like is somebody like me, I'm a recovering perfectionist who says, I can't plan until I have the perfect conditions. I need the perfect template. I need all the right data in front of me. I need the right color of sticky notes. I need all the right tools and the right conditions and the right data and the right template. Because if it can't be right, I don't want to do it. Now, some of us don't actually use the word perfect. Some of us are like, wow, I need the perfect everything. And some of us don't use the word perfect, but we're like, well, I need this to be right. I need that to be right. I need this to be right. So that's a deep underlying issue around us trying to prove worthiness and prove that we can get it right, that we're smart enough, that we just like a lot of stuff going on underneath the surface of that one. If that's you, I want to share a quote that my quilty friends and I use. I'm a big quilter, and we say, done is better than perfect. A quilt does not have to be perfect to keep you warm. Makes sense, right? A fundraising plan does not have to be perfect in order to guide you forward and keep you on track and help you raise all the money that you need to fully fund your budget this year. Done is better than perfect. Listen, an imperfect plan, it can be only a halfway done plan, but if it's fully implemented, it will always beat the plan that never gets finished because it's not perfect. Imperfect action always trumps inaction. So it's always better to do something even if it's not right. Just get moving. Get your plan together and start following it. All right, so we have shoulding, we have perfectionism. The next one is what I call rigidity. And this is where people get really nervous about putting a plan in place because it feels like it's written in stone. It is carved in place. And they're afraid somebody is going to hold them accountable. You know, if you don't have a plan in writing, then nobody can really say, well, you were supposed to be doing this, that, or the other, right? When you just have these people who are so afraid of putting that plan in writing and sharing it with somebody because now there's accountability. Now they've said they were going to do this or that, and their board, their volunteers, their staff, their program participants, like people are going to be watching to see if they actually execute it. I can remember those days early in my career. I remember being very afraid to put things in a budget or to put things in a plan because I thought, ooh, if I do that, then I have to do it exactly that way. You see how rigid that thinking is? And it actually doesn't work that way. A plan is meant to guide you, just like a roadmap. If you remember the days back before GPS, we used to have maps, those maps that fold all out. Then we would get in the car and we'd say, well, I'm going to go from Tennessee to Illinois. What's the best route to get there? Well, just because you kind of plot it out on the map doesn't mean you have to go from here to there without stopping. It doesn't mean you can't get off at exit 79 and go to the bathroom and grab some food. It doesn't mean you can't stop and stretch your legs at a rest stop. But you know in general where you're going and how you're going to get there. And it's the same thing with a fundraising plan. The plan is going to help guide the big activities. The little activities, it's fine to change those. It's fine to move this appeal from this particular week to that particular week. It's fine to say, I don't want to do this particular fundraiser on Facebook. I want to do something different. Totally fine. But if you don't have a plan to start with, you're going to have big trouble even getting close to the goals that you want to reach in order for your organization to be financially stable and successful. Okay. The next roadblock that pops up for a lot of people is inadequacy. And what this one looks like is, I need to do a little more research on this first. Like they just feel like they need every possible piece of information before they start planning. Again, done is better than perfect. You do not have to have exact, perfect everything. Now, some things you need to get good enough. So it's helpful to have last year's numbers of expenses or service delivery or even revenue that you raised last year. I like having good, solid numbers that I'm confident about. But do I have to have every last number? Do I have to have every possible report out of QuickBooks and out of my donor software and out of my program software? No. You need to have enough of an idea so that you can decide which of those strategies, which of the fundraising activities should you repeat and which ones should you not repeat. And you want to make those decisions based on data, not based on gut response, if that makes sense. And the way that you can make those decisions based on data is to have a report, have a report that gives you information that you can feel confident is accurate. But you don't have to have every last little piece. So if you find yourself in that situation of, well, I need to get one more report and then I can start planning. I need to wait until we get this. I need to wait until we get that is a stalling tactic. That is procrastination, pure and simple. If that's what's going on, I want you to just notice that that's what's happening and then ask yourself, what am I afraid of here? Because typically when we're stalling, there's something that we don't want to face, we don't want to admit, we don't want to deal with. And so we stall. And it probably is this very last one, and that is imposter syndrome. Just curious, did you get into running a nonprofit because you wanted to become a really good fundraiser? No, I didn't think so. Nobody does. In fact, I don't know of anybody who grows up thinking, I want to be a fundraiser when I'm an adult. Like, that certainly was not what I got into. And yet that's where we find ourselves. For those of you who are founders and you've started your organization, you did it because you cared about an issue. There was a cause that really appealed to your heart and you said, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. And then you got into it and said, oh, I'm running a business here. This is actually a business. We're just not showing a profit necessarily at the end of the year. I got to raise money. I've got to have a plan. Like, I got to figure this stuff out. That's how this happens. We kind of fall into it. And for a lot of people, they think, I don't have any idea what I'm doing. I don't know how good fundraising works. And maybe that's why you're here. I'm glad you are, because I want to help you learn how good fundraising works. But don't get hung up in this imposter syndrome that actually will kind of sit on your shoulder like a little bird and whisper in your ear, you don't know enough. You're not smart enough. You haven't done this long enough. You haven't been to school for this. You have no credentials for this. You're not certified. You're not qualified. Like all of that crap, just say to that little bird, thank you for sharing. Please go away. You don't need any of that. And that stuff can be really insidious. It can live in the shadows in your mind, whispering. You don't even realize it's there, but all of a sudden one day you realize you're feeling really uncomfortable about putting a plan together, and there's this knot in your stomach, and honestly, you may have multiple of these things going on. You may be worried about putting anything in writing because then somebody's going to find out that you don't know what you're doing. You're going to be outed as a fraud. You're going to be outed as a total imposter trying to run an organization. Listen, you don't have to be credentialed and qualified and all that to do this. You just have to be committed to figuring it out. You just have to want to find a way. Every single person who's ever started an organization, and I don't care if it's a for-profit business, a nonprofit organization, or anything else, very few people really, really know what they're getting into. And they jump in, and then they say, oh, I just went into the deep end of the pool. I got to learn to swim real fast. And we figure it out. I was that way. I didn't have any idea what I was doing when I started this organization, and I figured it out. And you can too. And what you've got to do is to put some kind of fundraising plan together, because otherwise you're going to spend all your time going from, oh, this looks great, to, oh, let's try this over here, to, oh, there's a new tool over here. There's a new thing. Everybody's doing this. Everybody's doing that. That's not going to work, my friend. It is not going to work. Yeah, you might raise a little bit of money here and there. It's not going to be the kind of money you need to fully fund your budget so that you can sleep at night and stop worrying about money. That's really where I want you to get to. And that's why we call our organization Get Fully Funded. That's what we want for you, is to learn how to raise all the money you need so you don't lay awake at night wondering how you're going to pay the bills or make payroll or anything else you have responsibility for. I've been there. I've been there in that space where everything came together and we had all the money we needed, and it is bliss, let me tell you. It's so much fun when you don't have to worry about money. And that's when you can really start refining your strategy and segmenting your donor base and having some fun with it. It all turns out to be more fun. So I encourage you to put a plan together, even if it's a simple plan. We've got a very simple plan over on our website at getfullyfunded.com/plan. And it's something I call a summary calendar. So go grab it. It's the one-page fundraising plan. That will help you at least get started. But take this seriously. Look and see which of these things get in your way, and how can you acknowledge that it's there and then find a way to work around it. Because when you have a plan and it's in writing and you know where you're going, it will change the game. All right, you guys, that is it for today. Have a really fabulous rest of your day. I'll see you back here next Wednesday. Bye.